I'm Julie Van Balzer, and today I want to take you through all of the settings that are underneath the wrench tool in your ScanNCut.
This is the settings button. Now, unlike most buttons, when you enter into the settings, you can't press the home button. Nothing happens, I just get the beep. If I want to exit out of the settings, I must press OK. And I can enter it again simply by clicking there. Now, if you look up here in the right corner, you can see this is 1 out of 8 pages, and you can page through using these arrow keys. But let's go through every single thing that's here in the settings. So the language, if you hit the tool icon, you can change the language that your machine is in. And again, it's 1 out of 3 pages, so you can scroll through to a different language. The units, so you can either choose millimeters or inches. The cut area, so people often ask, will the 12 by 24 mat work with my machine? And the answer is yes. You just need to click that 12 by 24 button, okay? And again, when you're done, you can say, okay. The background. So this is when you scan things in. Do you want it to be dark, light, or you can turn it off entirely? It's up to you. I usually keep it in either the dark or the light, depending on what color I'm scanning in. And now we're going to go to the next page. So on page 2, cut speed, cut pressure, and I do have videos on cut speed and pressure, so if you're wondering what those are, there's more information. Anything that is a factory set is going to be in a black box. You can see my cut speed is not at the factory set, so I can keep going. There's the black box. So that is what the standard sort of default settings are, but you can adjust them as you wish. So draw speed, draw pressure, okay, or actually not okay. Let's go to the third page. Auto shutdown. 1 hour is the lowest that you can have it, but if you want it to stay on for up to 4 hours, you can, okay? The other thing is, hear that beeping? Turn it off. Now, your machine is totally silent, which is kind of nice. We're going to turn it on. Seam allowance. So you can adjust what the automatic seam allowance is to a whole bunch of different choices depending on what you're doing. You can see the default is 1/4 inch. So pattern interval is probably easiest if I show you. So first at 1, okay, pattern. Go into the shapes. Let's grab the first shape here, or second shape here. So we'll have them be 3 of them. And then let's just bring it down in size to, there you go, 1.83, and hit set. Now you can see they're almost on top of each other. Now, if we change the pattern interval, let's raise it up. So 10 is the highest it will go. And notice, by the way, I was able to access the settings from any screen. We're going to say add. Let's go back. It's that same thing here. I can't remember what we had it at, maybe 1.83. So I'm going to try to bring it down similarly so it's about the same size. And again, we want 3 of them. And now can you see how these are spaced? These are right next to each other, meaning the pattern, the interval is tiny, or the pattern, the interval is large. So if you want to automatically space things far away from each other, that's when you would use that pattern interval button. And again, if you forget what you've ever set anything at, you can immediately bring it down to the factory setting because you can see that black square. So page 4. So the opening screen, you don't have to see that opening screen every time. You can go ahead and say off instead of having to see it. I like to have it on. So scanning, cutting, position adjustment. So if you click on that, it says the carriage and mount will move to the initial position. Keep your hands away from the carriage. Okay. Now, install the blade holder and a mount with a sheet of white paper attached into the machine. After the machine is set up, press the start stop button. So let's go ahead and do that. So you'll notice as soon as I put the paper in, I'm able to press the start button because it lit up. So now the goal is you want the red dot to be right at the center of these 2 marks. If it's not, use the arrow keys to move it around and really make sure that it's right perfectly there. This is the key to your scanning and cutting alignment. So once you're sure, hit next. it's going to show you the other side, and you can do the same thing. And say, okay, the setting was saved. And now what that means is that everything should be aligned. So we're going to go ahead and back. So you just adjusted your scanning cutting position adjustment. So if you find that you have edges that aren't cutting right or anything like that, like it's a little bit off to the left or the right, this is what you want to use. Now, blade adjustment area. Let's click on that. The blade travels all the way across before it starts cutting. So I'm just going to press stop. Now, if I hit quick cutting, okay, and let's go back to our blade adjustment area, and I bring it down all the way. Now the blade should only go here instead of all the way across. And again, I'll press stop pretty quickly. Did you see how it only just went there? So if you don't want it to go all the way across every time, then you can set it to be quite a bit shorter. Let's move on. So here's where we left off, fill or additional line. If you click on the tools, you can see you can choose your fill pattern. You can do your fill line spacing, fill direction. Now this is one of 2 pages. You can add an additional line spacing. Now I do have videos both on fill patterns and on additional lines if you're interested in learning more about that. Next page. So this is going to tell you your ScanNCut number, which is the actual number of your ScanNCut, the version of the software that you're currently running, and then you can find machine information again if you click right there. It'll tell you this is your maximum scanning area. It may be 12 by 12 for yours, or maybe 12 by 24. This is how many patterns you could have. This is whether you're wirelessly activated or not. It just tells you about the machine. A lot of times I get questions from people about what they can and can't do, but the information is actually available for you in your machine. Let's go to the next page. So this is how you wirelessly attach your machine. You click on the network button and you have a variety of options. And I do have an entire video on how to wirelessly activate your machine. So let's go back to page 7. So this is about ScanNCut Canvas Online, and this is how you attach it to your specific account. That is my username. You can also change which account is attached to this machine. On page 8, these are the premium functions. And what I would have to do, you can see here are all the emboss settings. The speed, the pressure, the tool, the inward offset, and again, all of those different choices. And then the kit activation on off, whether or not you want it to go. So that you can see that's page 8 of 8. So that's the entirety of what is under the settings button.
Thanks so much for watching. For more tips, tricks, and tutorials, be sure to visit my blog at balzerdesigns.typepad.com, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course, don't forget about the ScanNCut website at scanncut.com.